To begin the quest, drunk and disorderly, we return to the Cheydinhall Fighters Guild and find the head of the local chapter, the orc barbarian Burzgro Karsh, who turns to say,
"Hello, I'm Burzgro Karsh, and I'm in charge of the St. Jib's Fair. All I need is clowns, monkeys, and jugglers. No, wait. Just need jugglers."
"I'm sorry, I was looking for the Fighters Guild."
"Yeah, this is the Cheydinhall Fighters Guild. Look around. See any fighters? Right, that's the problem. No fighters, no guild."
"Ah, you're in luck. I'm fixing to complete a contract."
"I've got another contract for you, meat. I assume you won't embarrass yourself."
"Don't worry. I never feel embarrassed. What's this about a contract?"
"It's from Bienna Amelian at the Water's Edge settlement. She needs something retrieved from her ancestral tomb. Try not to muck it up."
"Can you point to Bienna Amelian on the map for me?"
"You'll find her at the Water's Edge settlement. It's marked on your map. Haul your carcass to that settlement, meat."
Exiting the guild and heading south to the settlement, we note in our journal,
"Why aren't you in Water's Edge?"
"Burzgro Karsh has given me a contract to retrieve an heirloom for Bienna Amelian, who lives in Water's Edge, a small settlement near Leyawen. I should report to her for further details." Arriving at the small settlement, we see 3 buildings and start at the south to find our contract giver. Seeing by the entrance to the building a quaint vegetable patch, and it looks like they're mostly independent from the city.
"I think you should leave."
We then meet an angsty brunette Breton who questions rightly.
"What do you want?"
Sorry for barging in. I'm looking for Bienna Amelian."
Bienna? She should be around here somewhere. Just look around a bit."
It should also be noted that the NPCs, due to living outside of the city, will tell you the wilderness rumours we don't get to hear inside said cities, such as,
The Colovians are proud of their reputation for being independent, rough and rebellious. Stay as long as you like.
Now, although Marie Alouette says that we can stay as long as we like, there are no guards to aid her in kicking us out. And we find she's quite handy with a bow if we don't leave of our own accord.
This is your last warning. Get out, or I'll call the guards and have you arrested. Am I supposed to be impressed?
Coming to out front of her home, we see behind her house a small stable with sheep, and it seems this town is quite self-sufficient. To our right, we then find a small farmstead in the middle. Once inside, we see 2 Bretons, apparently fans of the same fashion.
What do you want?
"I'm looking for Bienna Amelian and was told to look around."
Bienna? She should be around here somewhere. Just look around a bit.
Well, this seems to be a running theme. We can also hear again of the local wilderness rumours.
My favourite town? Anvil. Lovely old stone buildings, and the harbour at sunset is beautiful. Enjoy your stay here.
"Enjoy your stay," she says. To her right, we see her partner, Edward Retian, and he greets.
"What can I do for you?"
"I'm gonna try this a final time. Have you seen Bienna Amelian?"
"Bienna. She should be around here somewhere. Just look around a bit."
Again, we can hear of the wilderness rumours.
"Fighting's easy. Just lead them out on the water and shoot them full of holes. If you've got a bow, of course, and can walk on water."
Some sage advice.
"Stay as long as you like."
Too bad we can't walk on water.
I'm warning you. Get out, or I'll call the guards.
It should also be noted quickly, the only reason why the first Breton attacked us is because we've entered these properties outside of visiting hours. So it stands to reason that these Bretons are actually a very welcoming bunch down at Water's Edge. Outside, we then find behind the 2 homes another small vegetable patch, painting a picture of a very self-sufficient and welcoming community, though why these Bretons have migrated down south towards Leyawen remains to be seen. Perhaps if we find this Vienna, we'll soon learn why.
Can you help me? Hello. You must be from the Fighters Guild. I'm glad you're here. I need your help to repay a debt.
Afraid to ask at this point. Are you Bienna Amelian?
I am Bienna Amelian.
Excellent. Now you were saying about a debt?
I'm afraid so. My father had a bit of an issue with gambling. I'm afraid he built up a rather large debt. Now that he's gone, the debt is mine.
Well, if it's his debt, get him to pay it. Say, where is your father? You better not tell me he's around here somewhere.
Gone. Dragged from our house in the night. To pay the debt, I'd like to sell the sword and armour of my grandfather, or I might be next.
Dragged from your house? That's terrible. How much is the debt?
A great deal, over 1,000 septims. My father was quite a gambler. Quite a bad gambler.
And so you need me to locate a sword and armour. From where?
They were buried with my grandfather in the family tomb. The sword and cuirass were enchanted and should cover my debt. Please get them for me.
Now, at this point, the quest actually breaks up into two options. We can, instead of agreeing to find said sword and armour as a grave robber, choose to pay her father's debt outright, saying, "Here, take this money for your debt."
Are you certain? I can't thank you enough. Please, though, if you decide to retrieve the sword and armour, keep them. At least until I can repay you.
Before leaving, we can get a cheeky piece of wilderness dialogue.
Mud crabs. What's the point? Annoying buggers, though the meat isn't bad. I'm so grateful.
A quest updates as we head back to Cheydinhall. I've decided to give Bienna Amelian the money to pay off her debt. She's told me that I may keep the sword and armour if I wish to retrieve them from the Amelian family tomb. I should return to Bursgrove Karsh for payment of the contract. Now, as we do return to the Burly Burrs, it should also be noted, the armour can actually be collected at any time, including before the quest even begins, without stalling the Fighters Guild questline. Returning to Burrs, he questions.
Why aren't you in Water's Edge? You need to finish out the contract with Bienna Amelian in Water's Edge. What's the status?
Yeah, well, I finished the quest, kind of.
Paid her debt off yourself, did you? Not gonna get rich that way, meat. Still, the job's done. Here's your payment. Go to it.
We then quickly note, I've returned to Bursgrove Karsh, who was pleased with my efforts. He's paid me what was owed on the contract, which, being a paltry levelled 100 gold and a fame point, really isn't sufficient for the loss we just took. Instead, if we chose option 2, to find her grandfather's sword and armour, we can question, where are the sword and armour?
Not far in my family's ancestral tomb. Here, I can mark it on your map. Please return them to me so I can pay off my father's debts. You're my only hope.
I'm assuming that was a phenomenal throwback to Princess Leia's line from A New Hope. We then see, marked on our map to the southeast, the family Amelian tomb. Riding north from Coral, we soon find the remnants of a broken down tomb and the mud crabs that linger around its entrance. We also see a smattering of herbs and different flora about, as well as many graves. Apparently, the Amelian's ancestry seems to be quite robust in the area and probably were more prominent in the region at one point. Now, something that's embarrassing for me to admit, as we head past the lit beacon and the statues, you can probably see that the cave's entrance is missing a boulder. If we walk behind the door, you can see that there is actually a missing textures icon, and the reason is I've downloaded a mod that tells me if I'm ever missing a texture and something has conflicted with my vanilla game. It's not exactly immersion breaking, but it's enough for me to be like, I'm missing a boulder. Entering the standalone wood door. we find ourselves in a winding sepulchral tomb, and around the first bend, one of Emilian's undead relatives comes to greet us. Unsure why that her family members interred have become zombies and skeletons, we begin to fight through her dearly beloved, perhaps incensed at our trespassing. After dispatching a skeleton, we find there's a three-way break in a cavern, and in front of us, it seems to be a pair of gauntlets. However, when we approach, boulders fall from overhead. Surviving the encounter, we then find Brusef Emilian's gauntlets, a beautiful and intricate set of armor that is heavier than Orcish but provides inferior protection, being slightly better than chainmail. Heading to the passage to our right that is lined by wisp stalks, we see a family member's coffin unmarked in a nook. Opening said coffin, we find a few unremarkable items. The tomb is filled to the brim with miscellaneous items that we will skip over, though obviously if you enjoy your time as a grave robber, have at it. Standing on top of the tomb, we light a torch and are surprised to see a pair of unique boots to add to the collection. Making our way back around to the main room, we then enter the first tunnel to our left, activating a rope lever, revealing another incensed undead. In fact, this portion of the cave is filled with angry zombies. Apparently, Emilian's family are not all pleased with their lot in undeath. Seeing some nearby chests that were guarded by the undead, we open. The first to our right is a healing chest, and the second holds low-level items, including iron boots, but nothing of Vienna's grandfather's effects. Heading deeper into the catacombs, we find to the right a small area. Seems this is where the less prominent Emilian family members have been interred. Behind a small crate to the southeast of the room, we then locate Brusef Emilian's shield, boasting identical ornate markings and a silvery greenish hue. Following the winding tunnels, we then find ourselves at the entrance to the sarcophagus chamber. Once inside, we see the coffins are now haphazardly strewn about. It seems somebody has plundered the tomb previously. Perhaps the grave robbers were felled by Emilian's family, and now have joined the cacophony of skeletons and ghouls that guard the tomb. It's not until we ascend a stony slope to the north do we see a spectre floating about a room full of sarcophagi. Unable to injure the spectre with our normal weapons, we then remember our silver sword and bring it to bear down on the wraith. Saddened that this probably was one of the Emelian family members, we then find on a nearby stone slab Bruce F. Emelian's ornate sword that also looks like a silver sword with more of a flourish than a regular type, and Bruce F. Emelian's cuirass. A light armor piece that, like Bianna had stated, boasts frost shield 6% on self, which is leveled, so would obviously be a lot higher if we were not level 1. A quest and updates. I've retrieved the ceremonial sword and armor from the Emelian tomb. I should return them to Bianna Emelian. However, our armor set is still incomplete, and searching around the room, we find Bruce F. Emelian's greaves in the northeastern corner. Exiting via a wooden door that heads back to Emelian's tomb. We find ourselves in a room with a hole in the middle, some wisp stalks, and a chest with 8 gold. Before we drop down said hole, we then realise just to the southwest lies the final piece, Bruce F. Emelian's helm. Now with our full armour set complete, we march out of the tomb and back to Emelian. Wondering, what's the best option? Give up some of this unique set of armour, or the gold in our pocket? Returning to Waterfront, the townsfolk begin to bustle about, and we find Bianna with her back to us, and she greets.
Hello again. Have you had any luck finding the sword and armor?
Yeah, I've got the sword and armor and, well, everything else. Let's just say I wouldn't go back in that tomb for a while.
You found them? Fantastic! I can't tell you what this means to me.
We then have 2 options, again, to give her money for her debt. Obviously, a better option, as this armor is exquisite. Otherwise, say, yeah, here are the sword and armor.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Hopefully I'll be able to sell these for enough to pay my debt. You're a lifesaver.
Well, I guess your debt is paid.
I can't tell you how much your help means to me. Thank you again. I'll never forget this.
We then leave Waterfront on our horse, looking ridiculous without the cuirass, and our quest updates. I've given Bianna Emelian her grandfather's ceremonial sword and armor so she may sell it in order to pay off her debt. I should return to Grokash in Cheydinhal. Inside the Cheydinhal Fighters Guild, Grokash greets us at the door, questioning.
Why aren't you in Water's Edge? You need to finish out the contract with Bianna Emelian in Water's Edge. What's the status?
Yeah, I gave the armor and sword to Bianna Emelian.
Got a sword and armor for her, huh? Not bad work, meat. Here's your payment for the contract.
Well, I guess 100 gold isn't bad. Got some armor. Do you at least have a contract for me?
Nothing now, not at your rank. Go see Azan in Anvil. Maybe he's got something.
Well, how about advancement? I'm doing most of the work around here.
You're due for advancement. I hereby name you Protector of the Fighters Guild.
Now I'm a protector of the Fighters Guild. Maybe you do have a contract, huh?
I've been told to send you to Coral for some duties. Speak with Orion. You too.
The Fighters Guild main chapter in Coral would then become abuzz with rumours of our choices during the quest. If we had given up the sword and cuirass, we would hear.
Bianna Emelian sold her family sword and armor to pay her debts. And you think you have it bad. Sure, the Fighters Guild raided a family tomb, but they did it for a family member. What's wrong with that?
However, if we chose to simply pay her debt, they would instead gossip.
I hear our gold soldier paid her debt. But the hard hand also kept her family sword and armor.
Deciding at best we keep said armor, as I had promised we were going to upgrade our armor set throughout the Fighters Guild questline, and it's much too pretty to just simply give away 2 key pieces. If you enjoyed the video, please consider liking and subscribing. It helps out the channel immensely, and if you want to support the channel in a more personal way, check out our Patreon, which is linked at the end of the video. As always, thanks for watching. And until next time, traveller.